Well, ag markets closing mostly higher on Thursday, except for the cattle futures. John Heinberg is in with analysis. A nice pop in the grains, John, and a lot of that, was it tied to Argentina putting their export tax on?
I think that was definitely the strength in the overnight, just knowing that that little bit of a hurdle was out of the way, and getting back to maybe a more free market type trade system in terms of where prices are. Unfortunately though, we did see some really good sales in terms of soybeans, soybean oil, soybean meal go into Argentina. That disappointed that market. Obviously why we didn't get back the 15 cents we lost on Monday was the fact that some more business did leave U.S. shores for Argentina. But that was probably the biggest driver. Now those export taxes are back to 26% on soybeans and 9.5% on corn as we go forward here. And again, corn demand U.S. continues to stay very strong, as we saw with export sales.
Yeah, corn export certainly did help the corn market on Thursday. We did all this despite the dollar. So was some of this technical as well, you think?
I think so too. We're consolidating here around this 420 area, 425 area, which just seems to want to hold this market at this time frame. We get a little bit on the softer side. You see the buyer step in, and if we get a little bit higher, I think you see some farmers selling and things of that nature because of harvest kind of way. This market's still trying to build itself some base here. I think the export demand is going to still be the key going forward.
But John, wheat was almost the leader. Why?
I thought the wheat market has been acting very nicely. Obviously, we had a couple different things. I think maybe on the outside side, President Trump kind of changed his stance on Ukraine. So maybe we got a little bit of war premium coming back in. Not a lot here, but just enough to lift off those lows. And again, good strength today as we see some of the global demand for wheat and prices of wheat on a global scale continue to grow a little bit.
Cattle market had a tough down day, though. Was that lower boxes, lower cash trade? What was the pressure?
It's a combination of a bunch of things. On top of that, just a lack of money flow into the market, but those fundamentals definitely pointing downward as those boxes are now $40 off their most recent high. It looks like cash trade is going to be pretty ugly this week, at least compared to where it has been.
All right, thanks. John Heinberg with Total Farm Marketing. That's Markets Now.